Well, good evening. On behalf of KPCC and LAist, welcome to this special virtual video edition of Go Fact Yourself. You know, one of our first virtual events in the earliest days of the pandemic, we did with Go Fact Yourself, and we are delighted to be reconvening for this, their 100th show. Congratulations, Team Go Fact Yourself. You know, we had very much hoped to present this episode live and in person in our Crawford Family Forum in all of its celebratory glory. But now it looks like we'll just have to wait till their 200th episode. So stay tuned. I'm sure that won't take too long. I'm John Cohn, and I manage live programming and events for KPCC and LAist. And while we look forward to the return of our in-person events in the not too distant horizon, we're thrilled you've joined us online this evening. Speaking of, be on the lookout for updates to KPCC's Public Radio Palooza series, a year's worth of events celebrating public radio and the folks that make it happen. You can check out our ever-growing lineup of shows and guests at kpcc.org/palooza. All of our programming is made possible by the generous support of our members, so thank you so much to all of you. Now, if you're not already a member, you can visit us online at support.kpcc.org/in-person. I know we're not quite in person, but I promise you that link takes you to the right place to support KPCC and LAist. And while you're there, if you want to stay up to date on upcoming events, virtual and in person, please sign up for our newsletter. Go Fact Yourself doesn't usually record their remote episodes with a live virtual audience, so you're getting to see and hear this special episode before anyone else. The podcast version will drop on March 4th. Since this is a live taping, throughout the show, we may need to stop to repeat things, do another take, get a pickup on the magic of live virtual tapings. It'll be a fun experience and very much necessary for their podcast. Throughout the event, I invite you to engage with us and ask your questions in the chat. To join the chat, you should see a prompt to log in right under this video window. Just enter your name, email address to access that. A live text transcript of the program is also available directly under the chat window. Lots of windows. It's fun. It's virtual event world. And if you want to go back and watch this event again or share it with somebody who wasn't able to join us in real time, the full event video will be right here, right where you're watching now. You can visit this page at kpcc.org/in-person. That is enough of me. Without further ado, please welcome our friend and yours, host of Go Fact Yourself, Helen Hong.
A real know-it-all? Do you annoy your family by shouting the answers while watching Jeopardy? Do you drive people crazy when you start a sentence with, well, actually? Well, guess what? You can go fact yourself. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Go Fact Yourself, the show where we quiz the smartest people we know and find out why they love what they love. I'm Helen Hong. And now, socially distancing from our homes in Los Angeles, here's our moderator, J. Keith Van Straaten.
Hello, thank you so much, Helen. How are you on this event, the 100th episode of Go Fact Yourself?
I cannot believe we have been doing this for 100 episodes, J. Keith. I really can't. When we started this, I was literally a much younger person.
that tracks. Well, it's funny you mentioned that. I was thinking about when we recorded episode number 1. It was in November of 2017.
The before times.
The way before times. Yeah. At that time, I was living alone. I had one cat, and now I am living with 2 cats, and perhaps more importantly, a human woman who somehow has agreed to become my fiance.
Hey.
And I understand your life has changed a little bit as well since then.
My life has changed dramatically since, what did you say, 2017?
2017.
Wow, we were kids then, J. Keith. Since 2017, I have bought a house with my sister. My sister, who is a single mother by choice, had a baby, and because they're both my roommates literally on the other side of this wall, I call myself a single mother by no choice. Zero choice, doesn't matter. So I'm helping my sister raise a baby. So essentially I have had kind of a baby.
Yeah.
I bought a house. I also more seriously got breast cancer. So I have brand new boobies. So lots of change,
Well, I think the takeaway here, listeners, is that if you want to get engaged, get a house, get a baby, and get new boobies, start a podcast. All right. Well, today on Go Fact Yourself, two guests will compete to answer questions about facts they know, facts they might not know, and frankly, facts they should know. Plus, we'll meet actual experts on two very different topics. And finally, we'll declare one of our guests the winner of today's show. Let's get started and meet today's guests. Helen, who is up first?
She is a multiple Emmy-winning contributor to CBS Sunday Morning and a regular panelist on NPR's Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me. It's Faith Salie.
Hello, Faith Salie.
Hello. It's so nice to see you all and to be here. And Helen, do I say mazel tov on being an aunt / single mother by no choice?
Yes. I mean, you could, and I will say thanks.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the appropriate response. Yeah.
And Keith, Jay Keith.
Yes.
And Jay Keith, do I say mazel tov? I never know if you're supposed to say best wishes or congratulations when someone becomes engaged. There's like a old-fashioned gendered thing about that.
Oh,
I
did not know that. You know what? As long as you get us a gift, either one is fine.
Okay, it's fine. Yeah. Gravy boats are heading your way.
Oh, goody. Multiple.
Faith, as long as you don't say good luck.
Yeah.
As long as you don't say that, I think it's all good.
An armada of gravy boats headed my way. Faith, you, of course, are very familiar with Ms. Helen Hong here because you both have been on Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me. I looked into the statistics that people keep on the Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me show.
Dear.
You have come in first place on more than half of the shows on which you have appeared. Helen, a little bit less. What is the secret to your success on Wait, Wait?
I'm a nerd. I am a pathetic striver. Everyone else on the show is way cooler than I am, and they do the show just to be funny. And I'm Hermione Granger. Look, y'all. I'll show you right here. It's the magical pink legal pad on which I scroll all my notes.
Yes, I have had the pleasure of losing the game Wait Wait to Faith many times, and it's because Faith, like I don't even bother trying anymore because I know when I am playing with Faith, she's rolling up with like multiple legal pads full of scrawled notes and jokes and information from the news, and I'm like, I mean, what's the point? I'm just winging it over here. Like it's just.
That's what makes you cool. And I officially want to say right now that my hat is off to our other guest tonight, who I'm sure is going to beat me.
Well, with that attitude, you can't go wrong. Well, you mentioned about striving for recognition and validation. You actually had a book and a solo show that you adapted from that book called Approval Junkie. You described it as a personal story of a lifetime spent looking for validation in all the wrong places. What are some of those wrong places where you went looking for validation?
Well, I mean, I competed in I don't mean to brag, but I competed in my high school pageant 4 times until I won, because I was not going to graduate. If I had to graduate when I was 30, I wasn't leaving until I became Miss Aphrodite.
And you did? You became Miss Aphrodite?
I became Miss Aphrodite in 1989, J.K.
Oh,
wow. And what are some of the...
You could not see the tiara in my spiral perm. It was like a bird's nest.
Yeah. What are some of the perks and maybe responsibilities of being a Miss Aphrodite in 1989?
Oh, well, you have to represent the Spartans, which of course was our school mascot, and you may in fact have to lead the football team into our stadium, which was called Thermopylae.
What? Wow, you guys went full Greek. Your school was going full Greek.
Full Greek, but if you know anything about Greek history, Thermopylae was a battle in which countless Spartans died.
Oh,
and that was the name of our football stadium.
I'll be honest, I thought it was a board game. I thought it was, you know how there's like, if you go to Duke University, there's Dukeopoly. I thought it was somehow Thermopylae. Faith, you go back a long way with podcasts. You actually did one of the first ever podcasts, and the most recent podcast you're doing is about how Broadway came back after the pandemic. Tell us what got you interested in that and what that show's all about.
Oh my gosh, I have been a musical theater performer ever since I was a kid. That's what I grew up doing when I wasn't trying to become Miss Aphrodite. And I live in New York City, and every chance I get, and when I can afford it, I go to see Broadway shows. I take my kids to Broadway shows. I now have lived long enough to know many people who write Broadway shows and are in Broadway shows. And so it was pretty gutting for all of us who love theater and who do theater when the pandemic shut it down. which happened to my off-Broadway show as well in 2020.
Right.
So what was amazing about doing this podcast for Audible was that I got to tell the very personal story of my show changing over the course of the pandemic and returning to off-Broadway, while we featured big, splashy, flashy shows like Mrs. Doubtfire and Passover, which was the first show to open on Broadway, and also, featured the very personal stories of people. For example, the kids in Mrs. Doubtfire. Right. When you're cast to be an 8-year-old kid and then a pandemic happens and you come back and your voice has changed and you're 6 inches taller, like these really incredible personal stories, and are just fascinating. They're really
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I'm a huge Broadway fan, so I cannot wait to dig into that. Last thing I want to ask you about, you mentioned that you came up performing in musical theater. You did your first college musical with someone that people may not think of as a musical theater performer. Tell us about that.
Not only was this person in the show, I had to flash him on stage, and then we made out at the cast party. Matt Damon.
What?
Wow.
Don't think of him as a musical guy.
But he's a song and dance man. He can. Can he sing?
Damon can do anything. He didn't really have to sing in this role. He just had to be. He talked with a really thick Boston accent and was adorable and hilarious.
Oh, that tracks. We all know he can do that.
Yeah.
We all know that. Yeah.
How you like them apples? Okay, I'm putting it together now. Faith, it's wonderful.
Jay Keith, that's what he said when I flashed him.
I do like them apples. Faith, Salie, so happy to have you here. Thanks so much for being here.
I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you.
All right, Helen, against whom will Faith be competing?
He is an actor, producer, and multiple Grammy-winning hip-hop pioneer. It's the magnificent DJ Jazzy Jeff.
Hello, Jeff.
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining us. Wonderful to have you here.
Yes, I'm excited.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited it's you.
I am too. Can I be very superficial?
Please, that's what we're here for.
That's why we're all here on a podcast, right? Is to talk about how we look.
Yeah.
Jeff, you look way younger than I am, and very handsome and adorable. I didn't know what you looked like. I grew up knowing your name and seeing you on TV years ago, but it's great to see you.
Oh, thank you.
And you can tell how smitten. You can tell how smitten Faith is because she made up a new word, newing.
It's okay. I have seen you before, but I don't think I would recognize you without like all the bling and the sunglasses and the mic in front, like and just yeah. So
I'm kind of like Faith, that normally I would be in the bed watching Sports Center, so no glasses.
Yeah.
No
Well, we thank both of you for staying up past your bedtime. Jeff, Helen introduced you as the magnificent DJ Jazzy Jeff. That is a term I had heard before as a nickname, but you on Twitter have been calling yourself DJ Jazzy Jeff the Tutor. Where did that come from? Is that something to do with the class that you've been doing?
I started a DJ course of how to DJ right. Just trying to make people understand the structure of a DJ, the job of a DJ. Some people think that you just go on stage and just play records, and it's really taking people on a journey. It's piecing the right records together. How long do you play these records? It's really creating the emotion. Mm-hmm. And that is something that I really wanted to show people, because I think once you kind of get a peek behind the curtain, you have a different level of appreciation for what a DJ actually does. You know, that's the DJ is the soundtrack to when you met your husband or your wife. The DJ is the soundtrack for your wedding night, for Valentine's Day. It's so many things. So, you know, I think it's a pretty important job.
I think it's similar to stand-up comedy in that, like, everybody thinks they could do it, and everybody thinks it's easier than it looks, and it's like, try. You know what? Hold up until you try it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, a little bit more equipment, I think, in the DJing space, though. You're very specific about the kind of things that people will learn. And what stood out to me is it says you'll learn how to approach DJing in the same way that DJ Jazzy Jeff does. So how do you approach DJing specifically?
Taking people on a trip. It's a journey. I like to know, how long am I supposed to play? And that allows me to have a takeoff, a flight, and a landing.
Mm.
Like those things are very important to me, that you have to know technically when to get people on the floor. You have to know how long to keep them there. You have to send them to the bar and to the bathroom. You have to bring them back to the floor.
Ooh.
And then you have to send them home.
And
Wow.
at some point, you have to play Totally Eclipse of the Heart, right?
No, this is not karaoke.
Absolutely.
That might be the going to the bathroom part. That's really interesting. Well, I think it just goes to show you there's so many art forms where it really comes down to telling a story. And even in DJing, you can see that in what you're describing as well. That's really cool. You, of course, are known for playing Jazz on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air for so long. And now someone else is playing a character named Jazz on a similar story called Bel-Air. What was it like when you found out that they're doing this gritty reboot? I know you were just in LA for the screening party. What's that experience been like for you?
It was amazing. Morgan Cooper actually took it upon himself to create a theatrical trailer for the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and just uploaded it. And 33 hours later, Will contacted him and was like, I love it. And I want you to come out. And that got the ball rolling. So this is really amazing, because it's still surreal to me that I was on the original show.
Right.
So I haven't gotten over that. Now I have to get over someone playing me thinking it's surreal on the original show. So
yes.
It was Twilight Zone.
Isn't it just terrible when success just keeps coming?
Even when it's not you.
Yeah. I mentioned you were in LA for the screening party, and your son actually DJ'd that party. What was that like doing? Did he take your course?
No, he didn't have to. He's been DJing for a while. And I've had the pleasure of doing maybe about 4 or 5 different shows with him, which I always, every time I'm fighting back a tear, because this is, something that you've always wanted. And he kind of took to it a little bit late. So, but he really took to it. He knows his music. And it was just a proud dad moment of me sitting back, listening to him play. And I would be in the middle of conversation and he would play something, and I would kind of turn around and I would kind of give him the thumbs up. I wanted to give him the thumbs up, but he did a really good job.
That must have been nerve-wracking for him to be doing it in front of you, and you're like teaching this master course of DJing.
Yeah.
He's like, oh God, I hope I'm doing it right.
Yeah. How many DJ Jazzy Jeff tracks did he slip into the playlist?
You know what? None. Which
That's
is
probably
really good, because he kind of knew, he stuck to the topic.
That's very cool. Last thing I want to ask you about, some of our listeners will remember that you had previously been on our show as an expert back on episode 87 with Sean Devlin. Also on that show, we did a topic on otters, and you had stuck around for that and had heard the otter expert do the sound that otters make when they're doing certain activities. And you said that you were going to integrate that into a track. I want to know, are you ready to debut the hip hop track using the otter sounds that was inspired by your appearance on Go Fact Yourself?
I am still waiting for the right song to put the otter noise.
Okay.
You can't just, I realize you can't just throw an otter noise in a random song.
Wait,
so
I'm feeling a little left out. Jeff, can you at least impersonate the otter sound right now? Can you impersonate an otter for me so I just know what y'all are talking about?
I can't. It was an expert that actually did that.
It was kind of a crazy sound, wasn't it, J. Keith? It was like
somebody give me some otter.
It was like
it was like that. Yep. Yep. I can't wait. I can't. Yeah. And when you hear that, you think a new hip hop track. Thanks so much for joining us again, DJ Jazzy Jeff. We're happy to have you here.
Thank you.
All right, Jeff and Faith, we asked each of you to provide us with a few topics outside your field of work in which you feel you have some expertise. Faith, you said you know a lot about the Lincoln Memorial, the musical Sunday in the Park with George, and Coca-Cola cake.
Yes.
Whereas Jeff, you said you know a lot about the early days of hip hop, pre-1985, the 82-83 Philadelphia 76ers NBA championship season, and making popcorn. Variety is indeed the spice of life. Later on, we're going to ask each of you some in-depth trivia questions about one of those topics. But first, we're going to get your thoughts on something you might know nothing about. It's time to split some hairs with our What's the Difference round. We'll have one question for each of you, each worth up to 2 points. If either of you gives an incorrect answer, the other person has a chance to steal. Your topic today, waiting to exhale. First up is Faith with waiting. While they both might describe something that is weighty, what is the difference, Faith, between weight and mass? Weight and mass.
Oh, I wish I had all the scientific terms handy. So weight is how heavy something is. I'm sure the word gravity comes into play.
Okay.
Mass, I feel like mass has to do with density and size, but let's see. This is what you call verbal tap dancing with jazz hands. I'm gonna say that. Oh, this is pathetic.
Not at all. No. Just put a period on what you just said, and we'll be good.
Period. Semicolon. I just added a semicolon.
And a bonus semicolon. All right, Helen's going to take that into consideration when she scores. All right, we've got Faith's answer. We don't know yet if she's entirely correct. Jeff, if you don't think she's got it, you can steal. What do you think?
I think she's got it.
Okay.
I was gonna say that one is size and one is weight.
Okay, I'm going to guess that you think weight is weight.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. Well, one is how heavy.
Okay.
And one is the size.
Okay. So similar what Faith is saying. All right. Well, this segment is getting weighed down. Let's go to Helen Hong at the judges' table for the facts.
Here are the facts. Weight is how much gravity pulls an object downward. Mass is how much matter or stuff is in an object. Here on Earth, we measure weight and mass nearly identically, but things change if we go into space. Someone weighing 200 pounds on Earth would weigh about 33 pounds on the moon because the moon has less gravity pulling them down. But their mass remains 200 pounds no matter where they are in the universe. So you can't gorge yourself on cheesecake just because you're going to the moon.
Oh, nuts. That's right. By the way, weight and mass can use the same measuring units like pounds and kilograms, but only mass gets to use units called slugs and blobs. Yes, those are real scientific measuring units, slugs and blobs. Helen, how did our guest do?
I am going to give Faith 1 point because you did say
but
weight.
how much would that be worth on the moon?
Less. Are you sure you want
it?
Right.
Yeah.
3.333.
Because you said how heavy and you did say somehow gravity is involved. So
Yeah.
I think I'm being pretty generous here by giving you the 1 point. You didn't quite get density and you said density and size for mass and that wasn't quite, you were kind of in the ballpark, but not quite. So Faith, I'm going to give you 1 point.
All right. All right, up next in Waiting to Exhale, it's Jeff with Exhale. Jeff, your question comes from a listener. Who is it, Helen?
I will let them tell you themselves because we have a listener recording. Listeners, if you would like to submit a suggestion for our What's the Difference round, go to gofactyourpod.com and click on Get Involved. Okay, hit it.
Hi, everyone. This is Anusha Krishnan from Atlanta, Georgia. And my question for What's the Difference is, while they both involve exhaling, what's the difference between breathing and respiration? Thank you so much. I love this show and I wanted to offer my congratulations on your 100th episode. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Anusha. Very lovely. All right, Jeff, you heard Anusha. What is the difference between breathing and respiration?
Ooh.
I think we got two tough ones on the show.
Breathing and respiration.
We'll start with breathing. I think you might be able to get that one out quick.
Breathing is inhaling and exhaling.
Good start.
And respiration has to do with your heart.
Has to do with your heart. Okay, we've got Jeff's answer. We don't know yet if he's entirely correct. Faith, what do you think?
Well, the first thought I have is that, some people sweat and then fancy people perspire. So I think that breathing might be what the hoi polloi do. And very refined people respire.
Yes.
But I also was thinking, there are respirators, right? There are machines called respirators, and we don't have machines called breathers, really. So I wonder if a respiration is maybe the act of filling. I'm just going to say it's the act of filling lungs.
Act of filling lungs. All right. Well, this segment is suffocating. Let's go to Helen Hong at the judges' table for the facts.
Here are the facts. All breathing is commonly called respiration because it's part of the respiratory system, but not all respiration is breathing, because breathing is the movement of air between the atmosphere and the lungs, allowing the human body to inhale oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide. Respiration is specifically the exchange of gas through a membrane. And in the context of the human respiratory system, it takes place in two different places, at the lungs and in individual cells. At the lungs, that's physiological respiration. In the cells, where the cells metabolize oxygen into food, that's cellular respiration.
That's right. And we are talking here about human breathing, since fish, for example, use gills to obtain oxygen, and that's also called breathing. So don't believe anyone who tries to tell you that fried fish lungs are a delicacy that costs hundreds of dollars. I wouldn't fall for that again. Helen, how did our guest do?
This is a tough one.
Jeff, we were both spot on, really.
So, Faith, this is how you win on Wait. You award yourself the points.
Yeah, neither of you got it quite right, I'm afraid.
I think Jeff did get the breathing part right, because he did talk about inhaling and exhaling, which is a key part of that.
That was Faith that said that.
No, he said it first.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So let me have you take that again. Let me have you do it as if it's the first time.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah. All right. So I will give Jeff 1 point for inhaling and exhaling. And then neither of you quite got respiration correct.
All right. 1 point for Jeff. Helen, what is our score at the end of that round?
At the end of that round, it's evenly matched. J. Keith, Faith, Salie has 1 point, and DJ Jazzy Jeff also has 1 point.
But those scores are bound to change as we move on to questions about topics our guests have chosen for themselves. That's all up ahead when we come back on Go Fact Yourself. All right, we're going to do a quick promo for KPCC, and then we'll get right back into it. We want to use this short break to thank KPC and LA. Here we go. We want to use this short break to thank KPCC and LAist for partnering with us on this virtual live event, as well as our podcast network, Maximum Fun.
KPCC is our local NPR station in Los Angeles, and LAist is a valuable source of journalism for our community.
And they rely on the community for the funding necessary to provide this public resource. So if you're enjoying the show right now, or even if you're not, please consider making a donation to KPCC. It'll show that you value these kinds of events and make us feel pretty good too.
Or if you really, really love this event, become a monthly KPCC donor. It'll let KPCC know that you want more events like this and help them continue to provide essential fact-based news we all so desperately need right now.
We love facts. Either way, go to support.kpcc.org/in-person. That's support.kpcc.org/in-person. Thank you, KPCC.
Welcome back to Go Fact Yourself with our guests, Faith Salie and DJ Jazzy Jeff. Once again, here's J. Keith Van Straaten.
Thank you so much. All right, Faith, of your many interests, you told us you know a lot about the Lincoln Memorial, the musical Sunday in the Park with George, and Coca-Cola cake. Let's find out a little bit more about each of those. First, tell us what the Lincoln Memorial means to you.
Well, J. Keith, as you know, I'm on CBS Sunday Morning. And what that means is that for every story I do, whether it's like the geometry of pasta or how point shoes are made or the history of pockets, I do this mini deep dive into the cultural history of that, right? And then I can't remember it ever again because I have to empty my brain for the next
Because
thing.
knowing you, your version of a mini deep dive is a major, major deep dive.
It's a plunge.
You go
Let's do
hard
that
on the deep
equipment.
dive.
Yeah.
Right. So then my brain gets emptied and I can't remember it. But my kids roll their eyes because I always say like, oh, I did a story on that once. And so, J. Keith and Helen, I have just done a story on the Lincoln Memorial because it is the 100th anniversary of the Lincoln Memorial. And it's
What?
and I went there. I've been there many times in my life, but I went there with a park ranger and got like a behind the scenes tour and saw all the Easter eggs. And I feel ready to be an expert on it this week.
But if we had been recording the show next week,
Oh no.
all bets are off. Okay. All right. Well, you also said you know a lot about the musical Sunday in the Park with George.
I mean, yeah. So I've always been I was always a musical theater kid. In the 80s, I wanted to be Bernadette Peters. Like that's the thing. That's the person I wanted to be most. And I got the perm and sang the songs. And like all great works of art, I have found that returning to this amazing Sondheim musical, it speaks to me in different ways at different stages of my life, right? So when I saw it as I was going through my divorce, there's a song called Move On, and I would play that over and over, and it truly buoyed me. And then I got married and I had kids, and there's a song called Finishing the Hat. I mean, not to compare myself to George Seurat, but you know, he was an amazing painter. But I remember I was writing a book while watching my nanny take my 2-year-old to go play. And I was like, I want to be with my kid, but I got to finish the book. Right. And then I, during my off-Broadway show, I would listen to some of the soundtrack in my dressing room. And now that I'm like an old weepy mom, the song Children in Art makes my face wet. And so it's just one of those amazing works of art that you can return to, and it has tendrils that wrap themselves around you. And then as a super name droppy but really meaningful coda, in the past year, my family has become really dear friends with Mandy Patinkin and his amazing wife Catherine and their son Gideon. And if you had ever told like jazz hands teenager Faith Salie that like Mandy would be our pal, I wouldn't have computed.
Wow.
This is a major humble brag, and it's not so much humble. This is just brag.
I don't even need to brag. I'm just lucky. It's just a crazy thing that like
we have had Mandy Patinkin on our show and his wife, and they're freaking awesome.
On Wait, yes, yeah. Believe me, if I were friends with Mandy Patinkin, you would never stop hearing about it. So the fact that you waited this long is frankly impressive. All right, Faith. And then finally, you also said you know a lot about Coca-Cola cake.
Okay. So I lived in Atlanta from the time I was 6 to 18, which was long enough to get a good Southern accent going and to say y'all for life. And I don't cook, but I bake. And my go-to dessert is a Coca-Cola cake. Now, if you are uncomfortable with the word moist, I should stop talking right now. It is just solidly the moistest, most reliable, delicious chocolate cake. And my grandfather owned the Daytona Beach Coca-Cola bottling company and the Cape Cod bottling company. And my family was a family, like we would walk out of restaurants if they served Pepsi when I was a kid.
Loyal.
So this is always my go-to dessert for people. And what's really cool about it is that it has really trashy ingredients like Coca-Cola, buttermilk, and marshmallows. But somehow, because I've lived all of my adult life outside of the South, it's also esoteric. Like, where do you get a trashy, esoteric dessert? Well, it's a Coca-Cola cake.
Wow. I have to be honest, I had not heard of a Coca-Cola cake before. You told me this was one of your topics, and now I want to eat it constantly. Moist. Sorry, everybody. We're going to keep saying it. Moist.
Stop it. Yes.
All right. So to summarize, Faith, you said you know a lot about the Lincoln Memorial, the musical Sunday in the Park with George, and Coca-Cola cake. Today, we're going to quiz you about Sunday in the Park with George.
Woohoo! Jazz hands.
Jazz hands, indeed. Although, when I think of that show and its choreography from the productions I've seen, I don't see a lot of jazz hands in it.
No, there aren't.
No. It's famously had several high-profile productions in concert in New York and, of course, on the stage. Do you make it a point of seeing all of the productions when it's in town?
Yes. Yes. Why are you even asking me that question? Yes, all of them.
And you mentioned some of the songs that have been so meaningful to you. Is there a favorite scene or a favorite spoken line that sticks with you over the years?
Well, I mean, now that I know Mandy, I think it's hilarious when he becomes a dog, right? He has to sing. He has to sing as two different dogs, and of course he does it really, really, really well. So that tickles me. But there is that line. Hold on. Move on. I'm sorry where you're going. Move on. If you can know where you're going, you're already gone. I chose and my world was shaken. So what? The choice may have been mistaken, but choosing was not. Every time I need to know that life unfurls inexorably, probably for our benefit, I listen to that song. I just found that I just find the notion of those words so soothing.
That is so beautiful, but I kind of didn't hear what you said because I'm still hung up on Mandy Patinkin playing two dogs. Like, what is happening? Like, I've never seen this musical. What is going on? He has to play two dogs.
Let's see if that comes up in the quiz.
Wait, Helen, I really mean this. The next time there's a revival, can I take you?
Please
can we
do.
hold hands through
I
it?
know nothing about it. And I'm like, wait, he played two dogs? What? This is
Not
surreal.
one, but
There's
two.
so much to look forward to, isn't there? Just ahead, we're going to enlist the help of a bona fide expert in your topic, Faith, to test your mastery in the subject with our expert level question worth up to 3 points. But before that, to let you show your love, here are 5 trivia questions about the topic, each worth 1 point. If you want it, you're allowed a hint for any 2 of these 5 questions.
So excited.
Now, Jeff, listen closely, because if Faith answers incorrectly, you can steal. Jeff, by the way, how much do you know about the musical Sunday in the Park with George?
Not a lot.
Not a lot. Okay.
Right on, Jeff.
Yep. Maybe
I'm curious.
Okay, great. Maybe Helen will hold your hand when you guys go.
Yes.
All right. Here's question number 1. Sunday in the Park with George premiered on Broadway in 1984, but a new generation got to see a Broadway revival in 2017 with the title role played by what actor known more for his film work in Brokeback Mountain and Donnie Darko, and for not returning Taylor Swift's scarf?
Jake Gyllenhaal, and I saw that production.
Helen!
That is correct.
That is correct, of course. Very good for the point. Fun fact, Jake Gyllenhaal also played Seymour in a production of Little Shop of Horrors, which was a topic for guest Arden Marine on episode 65 of Go Fact Yourself.
Return Taylor's scarf.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Helen, you want to say that again?
Return Taylor's scarf.
Yeah, we are pro returning Taylor's scarf on this show. Faith, you wanted to say something?
I just want to say I thought he was fantastic. I feel like we all lower our expectations for movie stars.
Mhm.
The dude can sing.
The dude can sing. All right, here's question number 2. The musical centers around the creation of a famous painting, who, thanks in part to the musical, has simply come to be known as Sunday in the Park. But its actual full title is A Sunday Afternoon on the Island of what?
La Grande Jatte.
Helen?
That is correct.
That's right. That is correct. Grande Jatte. Fun fact, Jatte actually means bowl. And who doesn't enjoy relaxing with a big bowl on a Sunday afternoon? You know what I'm saying? The painting is also known as A Sunday on La Grande Jatte. It was donated to the Art Institute of Chicago in 1926. All right, you're 2 for 2. Here is question number 3. The original Broadway production of Sunday famously featured your dear friend, Mandy Patinkin,
I'm such a jerk.
your hair idol, Bernadette Peters, and Dana Ivey, all of whose performances were nominated for Tony Awards. But another actor in the production became an internationally recognized name a few years later when he played on Helen's favorite show, Star Trek: The Next Generation. Who is this versatile actor?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was on Star Trek.
Yes, Deep Space Nine.
And
Yes.
I don't know the trivia about all the other shows, so I'm probably even going to say the wrong show. Will Wheaton is the only name that's coming to mind. And was he even on TNG?
Yes.
Yes, he was on TNG.
Babe,
Don't get Helen started.
Don't even Faith.
I'm
Right.
sorry.
Come
Okay,
on.
let's everybody calm down.
Were
We're here
they
to talk
fighting
about
words?
Sunday in the Park.
I'm about to
Yes.
get heated.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
That's okay. Faith, is Will Wheaton your answer?
Sure.
Okay, Helen, is it Will Wheaton?
It is not Will Wheaton.
No, I'm terribly sorry. DJ Jazzy Jeff with a chance to steal.
Bar Burton.
Was it LeVar Burton?
It was not LeVar Burton.
No, but I'm impressed that both of you were able to successfully name cast members of Star Trek Next Generation.
Wait,
That'll
it's
keep.
not Patrick Stewart.
No, it was Brent Spiner. Brent Spiner, who played Data on Star Trek Next Generation in the Broadway production of Sunday in the Park with George, plays Franz and Dennis. All right.
Oh.
Yeah. All right. No point there for either of you. Let's move on to question number 4. See if you can bounce back. You do still have your 2 hints available. Faith, the George in the second act, the great grandson of the George from the first act, is also an artist who is working on the 7th in a series of electric light contraptions called what?
Chromolooms.
Helen?
That is correct.
That is correct. There she is back again. Chromaloom. Fun fact, a chromaloom was a late 19th century invention by Edwin Babbitt that claimed to heal people using colors. It was essentially a stained glass window composed of 16 different colors that sold for $10. For some reason, it was not proven effective. All right, here's question number 5. Faith, Sunday has had a big impact on our culture, sometimes in places you might not expect. What comedy drama TV show that ran for 8 seasons in the 2000s had several episode titles taken from Sunday in the Park with George's song titles, including Move On, Chromaloom number 7, Color and Light, and Sunday in the Park with George?
I know this. It was bizarrely Desperate Housewives.
Helen?
That is correct.
That is correct for the point. Very, very good. Fun fact, the show also used the titles Art Isn't Easy, The Making of Art, Putting It Together, and for the series finale, Finishing the Hat. All right, very good, Faith. You did quite well in that round, but now here is your expert level question that requires multiple answers. It is time for your cluster facts. All right, Faith, we'll be bringing out an expert to assess your response. People may think of Sunday in the Park with George as a Stephen Sondheim musical, and while Sondheim did write the music and lyrics, another person wrote the book and directed the original Broadway production. While this person did not win a Tony for Sunday, he did win multiple other awards for his writing and directing of the show. So for up to 3 points, what organization, which has awarded stage productions since 1918, but does not usually award musicals, gave this person and Sondheim the award for drama for writing Sunday? What organization, which has awarded Broadway productions since 1969, gave this person 2 awards for writing and directing Sunday? And who is this multiple award-winning co-creator of Sunday in the Park with George?
Wait, are you telling me I'm going to get to talk to this person?
I don't know. I mean, who can know these things? I'm just saying, it depends.
It's
It depends what
James
you're.
Lapine, and
Okay.
it's the Drama Desk Awards, right?
That's one of your answers. We're looking for two different awards that this person won. One was
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, that's all right. So I'll repeat again. So first, we want to know what organization, which has awarded stage productions since 1918, but does not usually award musicals, gave this person and Sondheim the award for drama for writing Sunday. Okay, here we go. So what are your 3 answers, please?
Okay, I don't know if I got the order right because I'm
Okay.
so excited. 1, the Pulitzer Prize.
Okay.
And they won the Drama Desk Award.
Okay.
And it's James Lapine.
All right. Helen is taking note of those answers. We have an expert on hand who can tell us for sure. Helen, who do we have tonight?
Joining us tonight is a legendary director, playwright, screenwriter, and librettist, whose many accolades include a Peabody and 3 Tony Awards, the co-creator of Sunday in the Park with George. It's James Lapine.
Oh my God.
Don't get too excited.
I can't. James, are you ready for me to drop a name again? When I was at Mandy and Catherine's, the first thing she showed me was your book that had just come out. And
Well, there you go.
you did Into the Woods. You just 3 blocks away, flying over Sunset. You're like, I am I can't
She's
speak
verklempt.
anymore.
She's
Yeah, a little bit
verklempt.
clamped. Well,
Oh my
well,
goodness.
Faith took care of my second part of the introduction because I was going to make sure our listeners knew that James Lapine, you of course are also known for Passion, Falsettos, Into the Woods, each of which won you a Tony Award. You also have a Peabody. You're in the Theater Hall of Fame. Plus, you have some other awards that we'll discuss later. It's amazing to have you here. And of course, as Faith just mentioned, taking my talking point also, you didn't just write the book for Sunday in the Park with George. You wrote a book about Sunday in the Park with George. It is called Putting It Together, How Stephen Sondheim and I Created Sunday in the Park with George, which of course won an award. It was an NPR Book of the Year. Let's get into it by first talking about that book. Why did you want to revisit Sunday in the Park with George some 40 years later?
That's a good question. A publisher wanted to know if I wanted to write a memoir.
Mhm.
And I did not want to write a memoir, but I had an idea. It might be fun to revisit that time, and I'm always was at the time and always up until recently, sadly, looking for an occasion, an opportunity to spend time with Steve Sondheim. So
Sure.
That's how it began.
That's great. You talked to a lot of people who had been involved with the production way back when. Did you learn
Mandy
something?
Patinkin.
Yeah,
Patinkin. Let's see how many times we can get his name on this show.
It's a drinking game.
Yeah, that's right. Listeners, if you're hearing us say Mandy Patinkin, have a shot.
That's the magic name for tonight.
Yeah. I was curious of talking with people about their memories back then. Did you learn things that you didn't know from what was happening at the time?
Well, I got some information from different perspectives than I was privy to at the time. I wouldn't say that. I think I learned more about myself than I did other people by just going back and having those conversations, oddly enough.
Oh, tell us more about that. How do you mean?
Well, you know, when you hear what people's perceptions of you were 40 years ago, and you realize often they weren't very good, it made me realize why it wasn't very good. And at the time, I knew certain people were not that fond of me, but I didn't understand why. So part of doing the book was an interesting conversation about what I was doing at the time that I didn't realize I was doing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's very insightful. One of the things that I didn't know that came out in the book was that we got pretty close, or how close did we get to Sunday in the Park with George being a feature film?
Well, we didn't get that close, but we would love it still to be. And we're one of the reasons that we did the event with Jake Gyllenhaal is because I thought he'd be a perfect George. And I did do an adaptation of the show for film. And so we tried to get that set up, but it didn't, you know, it's a very special musical. And I think it will one day get done when the stars align, so to speak.
James, forgive me. I am not that familiar with the show.
Yes,
but
I think you've made that clear.
I apologize. But hearing now that there were 2 singing dogs and chromolooms, how high were you when you wrote it? Just be honest.
Well, funny you mentioned that. Yeah, we were pretty high.
I knew it.
The grand bowl, the big bowl. Yeah.
In fact, the first time I met Steve Sondheim, he rolled a joint and lit it before we barely said hello, and I never even met him.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah, we were potheads.
Well, I really want to see it now.
Well, Helen, a lot of the first act takes place with people sitting on grass. So there is that
there
as
you
well.
go.
Yeah.
I'm down.
And then they become the painting man and like, what's the painting and what's real? People have talked about your collaboration with Stephen Sondheim, and I'm sorry for your loss. Obviously, it affected everybody who's a theater lover, but not to the degree that it affected you. People have talked about you working with Sondheim as an unlikely collaboration. Why was it so unlikely, especially at the time?
Well, I actually didn't have much interest in the theater, to be perfectly honest. I was trained as a photographer and a graphic designer, and just oddly fell into theater and had only actually done 2 plays and 1 musical when I met him. And I actually didn't know much about him at all. I had actually only seen 1 show of his, which was Sweeney Todd, which I think I saw it 3 times. But much to my amazement, he saw all 3 shows I did. So I was definitely a neophyte. There was almost 20 years difference in our age. And I think he kind of grooved on the fact that I didn't really know much about him or was not in great awe when I walked in the door. So
you could kind of focus on the work instead of on the adulation.
Well, I think I just came to things from a whole different point of view than he did. And I didn't have a frame of reference that he had, which I think was for somebody as experienced and as accomplished as he was interesting for him to jump in waters with somebody who was really an off-Broadway guy. And he was coming off a failure, actually, of a show called Merrily We Roll Along. And I think he was really... I think amazingly brave of him to throw his lot in with me and to go off Broadway and try out this crazy show.
What was it about the painting of Shiraz that made you think, there's a musical in there?
Well, it's first of all, it's a painting that I have loved as a visual artist, for many, 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 many years, and was fascinated, and always when I got to Chicago, kind of check in with it. I'm not sure I knew why it was a musical, frankly, but I knew that there was amazingly details in it that lent themselves to examination. There's a painting with all these people in it, and none of them are looking at each other, and some of them are out of perspective, and they're all painted with
P.S. There's a monkey.
There's a monkey. Do you know why there's a monkey?
No.
Well, I didn't know any of these things till I dove into the show, but the monkey, apparently prostitutes walked around with monkeys.
What?
And also, the girls that are fishing in the painting, that's another thing women did to let men know that they were prostitutes.
Fishing.
Oh, fishing, interesting. Yeah.
That makes more sense than the monkey. I'm not gonna lie.
The monkey is, and there were, of course, 2 dogs. So, I couldn't think of a song for a monkey, but 2 dogs, I think.
Let's face it, everybody was high involved in anything, like anything related to this painting and the show. Everybody was high.
We talked about some of the revivals. One of the revivals was directed in the family business. Tell us about that.
Yeah, my niece did the one with Jake Gyllenhaal, and so she was in the family business. Yeah,
very cool. Did she ask any advice, and did you give any advice about this particular show?
I'm sure I did.
Okay, but did she take it?
I'm sure she did.
Okay, good. She's no dummy. She knows who her uncle is.
Well, no, I mean, I'm the author of the work, so of course she's going to listen to the authors. And anyway, I want to know what Faith's favorite role was in life.
Favorite role?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you for that wonderful question. Well, in honor of, you can call him Stephen. I'll call him Mr. Sondheim. I played Squeaky Frome in England.
In Assassins.
Sorry, yes, Jay Keith in Assassins in England. And it was just a marvelous experience to perform at the Burton Taylor Playhouse in Oxford and be the sole Yank in that production. So I was also the de facto dialect coach.
But they're like, now Squeaky, why would you do that, sir?
Exactly.
Yes.
And by the way, I was having a fling with the guy who played Abraham Lincoln.
Of course you were. I'm sure that's almost a requirement in every production of Assassins.
Wait a minute. Abraham Lincoln isn't in the show.
Oh, sorry. Wait a minute.
God, I'm sorry. Do you see my mind is on the Lincoln Memorial? I was having a fling with the guy who played John Wilkes Booth, not Abraham, the person who killed Abraham Lincoln. Sorry, everybody.
Yeah, spoiler alert for those of you who have not seen the show.
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
that's all right.
Exactly.
What are you smoking tonight, Faith?
That's just the melatonin talking.
James, Faith mentioned Flying Over Sunset, which debuted at Lincoln Center. I actually got a chance to see it. I was very happy to do so. It was wonderful. I was curious how that idea came to you. For those who don't know, it involves a fictional or an imagined meeting between 3 noted people going on an LSD trip. Maybe I don't have to ask how it came to you because we've talked about. But I'm also curious, just sort of what's next for that show. I know it closed already. Is it going to have a life beyond that Lincoln Center run?
Yeah, unfortunately, we opened at the absolute worst time in the middle of COVID, which was a dance unto its own. Yes, it will be licensed, and we're hoping to do a London production, and we have a cast recording coming out in a couple of weeks. So,
wonderful!
Looking forward to that. Yeah.
That's cool. And do you know what you're working on next, or what we might be able to see?
Am I at liberty to say?
It's just us here on this private Zoom call. No one's going to
listening.
just roll a joint and just whisper it to us.
I am working with an amazing person named Anna DeVere Smith. And we are working on a show that takes place in 1970 when Leonard Bernstein and his wife threw a party for the Black Panther Party. And Tom Wolfe wrote an very, very well-known and controversial article called Radical Chic about that moment in time. And I think it's going to be cool. And it is not a musical.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll still see it.
Can I ask you a question, James? Is Angela Davis a character in it?
Well, we've talked with a lot of Panthers. She was not... she's not a character yet. Let's put it that way.
Right, Faith, were you looking to audition for the role?
No, because her niece Issa she was in that musical I did with Matt Damon, and she's an amazing actor.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, she was in Passing Strange in the original cast of that, which was one of my favorites.
This is amazing.
Oh my God,
I had no idea that was her daughter.
Yeah, I didn't either. That's amazing.
Her name's Issa Angela Davis. Yeah.
Wow. So apparently, if you want to get into theater, you got to be someone's niece. That's what we're learning. That's a special kind of nepotism on Broadway. James, I could talk with you about Broadway and theater all night, but let's get to the reason that we brought you here as far as our game is concerned. You heard the question. The game is the thing. You heard the question that we asked of Faith. First, we wanted to know what organization, which has awarded stage production since 1918, but does not usually award musicals, gave the person we had asked about and Stephen Sondheim the award for drama for writing Sunday in the Park with George. Helen, what did Faith say?
Faith said Pulitzer.
And Mr. Lapine?
Oh, yes, she was absolutely correct.
Absolutely correct. Pulitzer Prize winning playwright James Lapine. That's a point for Faith. Next, we want to know.
Celebrating not for me, but for you, James.
Next, we want to know what organization gave this person 2 awards for writing and directing Sunday in the Park with George. Helen, what did Faith say?
Faith said Drama Desk Award.
And James?
Well, that's 2 for 2, Faith. That's amazing.
You got that correct?
Because you also won the Olivier. I just remembered that, right?
I know, and I didn't get it. Steve took it.
Oh my God.
They only give one out. They award it to more than one person, but they only give one object.
So you've got to cut Olivier in half, just get the bottom of the top half. All right, a point there for Faith. And finally, we wanted to know who is this multiple award-winning co-creator of Sunday in the Park with George. Helen, what did Faith Salie say?
Faith said James Lapine.
Wow.
And?
Oh, I guess so. Yeah.
You might as well at this point. I think the jig is up. Congratulations, Faith. A clean sweep of your cluster fact. Faith, while we have James here, is there anything else you'd like to ask or say to him?
They always say never meet your idols, but I am 2 for 2 when it comes to this show, Sunday in the Park with George. And well, first, before I get all emotional, I do want to ask you this. Yes. Is it true that Mandy Patinkin, everybody drink, got so frustrated during rehearsals early on that he ran out of rehearsal and you chased him down 42nd Street? And did that happen?
That's absolutely true. It's true.
What did you say to him on the street? How'd you get him to come back?
It was very simple. I said, if you don't want to do the show, you shouldn't do it. But we do have an audience coming tonight. So just come do the show tonight.
It was the night of the show. Wow.
Yes.
What?
I think he ran out around 5 o'clock. And I just thought, I said, do the show tonight. And then if you want to quit tomorrow.
Wow. He really did not want to do those jazz hands.
No.
Or the dogs.
Right?
Yeah. Actually, to finish the story, that night his wife, Catherine, came and also another friend of theirs. And they told him, he was nuts not to do this show. So
Yeah.
Wow.
And Faith, if you do want to get emotional, we certainly want to give you a space for that.
oh yeah, let's see that.
No, truly, I hardly need to tell you this, that the mark of great art is when something speaks to you in new ways throughout the same work of art, speaks to you in new ways throughout your life. And I truly listened to Move On, like on a loop, to get through my divorce. And now I am happily and gratefully married. And when I listen to children in art, I mean, we live in this crazy New York City world where you can lose perspective. And my husband and I are always reminding ourselves that the most important thing we can do is find our purpose in life, which for me is making some kind of art, being a storyteller, and raising good human beings. And so I thank you for writing things that continue to make my face wet.
Thank you for saying that.
Oh.
James, it's been an absolute honor and a treat. If people want to find out more about you or your work, where can they do that?
Where can they do that? They can buy Putting It Together by James Lapine.
Available wherever books are sold. What a joy to have you. Thanks so much for joining us, especially on our 100th episode. James Lapine, everybody.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank
you for having me. I really had a ball.
All right, Helen, what is our score at the end of that round?
I'm sorry, you guys, I have to die. I'll be back later. I have to die.
We will look forward to the reincarnated Salie right after this. Once in a while, we get the right person. Thank you so much for staying with us, Faith. All right, we do have to keep moving. I'm sorry. Helen, what is our score at the end of that round?
At the end of that round, Faith Salie has 8 points and DJ Jazzy Jeff has 1 point, with a round of questions for Jeff coming up.
That's right. We're going to talk with Jeff about a topic he knows about. Plus later, Faith and Jeff will go head to head in our Fast Facts round, all to find a winner on Go Fact Yourself. Great. All right, we can all take a breath. We're going to move on to the next segment. Thank you so much.
Faith didn't let me know that she was actually Michael Jordan.
The Michael Jordan of musical theater trivia that she knows.
Jeff, it's just that one show. It's just that one show. Oh my God.
I'm sure you'll do great as well. All right, Helen, we're going to cue the music and bring us back in for the last segment. And hi, everybody there who's watching. Thanks so much for being with us. We appreciate it. All right, here we go.
Welcome back to Go Fact Yourself with our guests, Faith Salie and DJ Jazzy Jeff. Once again, here's J. Keith Van Straaten.
Thanks, Helen. All right, Jazzy Jeff. All right, Jeff, of your many interests, you told us you know a lot about the early days of hip hop, pre-1985, the 82-83 Philadelphia 76ers championship season, and making popcorn. Let's find out a little bit more about each of those. First, tell us why you chose the early days of hip hop, pre-1985.
I was actually around and playing music before hip hop came onto the scene. So being there from the beginning, I was one of those kids that were super excited every time a new song came out, because it was a budding new culture that for the first time I felt like somebody was making something specifically for me.
Wow.
Very cool.
What kind of music were you playing before hip hop?
Before hip hop, it was a little bit of everything. It was a lot of funk and soul. It was a lot of rock. The hip hop came along right at the explosion of the disco era. So it was pretty much a melting pot.
All right.
Cool.
All right. You also said you know a lot about the 82-83 Philadelphia 76ers championship season.
Yes. Listen, being from Philadelphia, born and raised,
I understand it's West Philadelphia, born and raised.
Actually, it is West Philadelphia.
Okay, I think I've heard that somewhere. Sorry, go ahead.
You have to hold on to when your hometown teams win championships.
Sure.
Philadelphia is a place that I was happy to say that I was alive to see the Flyers win the Stanley Cup, the Eagles win the Super Bowl, the Sixers win the championship, the NBA championship. And the Phillies win the World Series.
Wow.
I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
All right.
They say that nobody goes crazy like Philadelphia fans go crazy. Is that a compliment?
Great question, Faith.
It all depends on where you live.
Yeah. If it's not your car that they're destroying,
Exactly.
probably you like it.
Exactly.
All right. And then finally, Jeff, you said you know a lot about making popcorn.
You know what? Popcorn was the very first thing that I learned how to cook.
Wow, so advanced.
The very first thing that I learned how to cook when
Yeah.
I was maybe about 7 years old,
Mhm.
you know, with a pot, oil, the kernels, you know, getting the ratio right.
Yeah.
And pretty much now anyone that comes to my house begs me to make them popcorn.
Whoa.
Do you
I
have
think
a secret?
Yeah. Is it pop secret?
I just, you know, well, it's not necessarily top secret. It's kind of like I don't measure anything.
what?
I measure, but it is the exact same way every single time.
You go on instinct. It's funny when I was telling people that this might be one of your topics, people were surprised, and then I realized you shouldn't be surprised. The first line of your Twitter bio currently says professional popcorn maker. And I saw a social media post from I think 4 years ago now where you were showing off your popcorn skills, that you gave the popcorn to your kids and also to your cat and dog.
That's it.
So,
It's loved by everyone.
yeah.
Jeff, I think popcorn might have been one of the first things that I learned how to make, but I did it with the Jiffy Pop thing where you just like
Yeah.
shake the
Yeah.
pre-made thing over the pot, over the heat, and
I've been wanting to go to the supermarket and buy one of those. I just need to see that today.
Mhm.
That big foil.
Yeah. Puff. The big like
Saran wrap.
spaceship.
Yes.
Yeah.
yes.
All right. Well, to summarize, Jeff, you said you know a lot about the early days of hip hop pre-1985, the 82-83 Philadelphia 76ers, and making popcorn. Today, we're going to quiz you about the early days of hip hop pre-1985. Now, what is it about 1985 that's a marker for you, a delineation?
Well, 1985 was pretty much the shift in styles that was pretty much going from the Grandmaster Flash style of rap to the Run DMC style of rap. So that was pretty much the first cultural shift in hip hop.
And hip hop, of course, isn't just about music. There's dance and art and all of that. Were you into those elements as well? Were you a dancer? Did you do graffiti art?
I scribbled graffiti on my notebook.
Okay. What a bad boy.
I tried to break dance, but I was not quite that agile.
Yeah.
And Philadelphia's cold, so kind of break dancing in November, December wasn't happening.
Yeah, you don't want to be spinning on a cold pavement then, yeah.
And I gravitated to DJing. Every once in a blue moon, I tried to rap. Didn't consider myself a rapper, so I said, you know what? Let me just be the guy to play the music.
Yeah, you're the DJ. Somebody else who we don't know is the rapper. All right. Well, just ahead, we're going to enlist the help of an expert in your topic. But before that, to give you a chance to show off, here are 5 trivia questions about your topic, each worth 1 point. If you want it, you're allowed a total of 2 hints in these 5 questions. Now, Faith, do listen closely because you can steal if Jeff gets any wrong. Faith, by the way, how much do you know about the early days of hip hop pre-1985?
Can we go back to popcorn? I don't know much, but I was alive and I liked it.
Okay. Well, let's see if Jeff lets you in. Here's question number 1. Jeff, although hip hop is now a worldwide phenomenon, it had its start in the United States with the first breakthrough artists coming from various boroughs of what East Coast city?
New York.
Helen?
That is correct.
That is correct. Fun fact, although the music was made in New York, many of hip hop's early innovators had cultural backgrounds from Jamaica, Barbados, Puerto Rico, and more. All right, you're on the board. Here's question number 2. New York was the backdrop for several hip hop movies, including what's widely considered to be the first, a 1983 release that features many early artists of the genre, including dancers, graffiti artists, MCs, and DJs, such as Lee Quinones, Fab Five Freddy, Busy Bee, Crazy Legs, and Lady Pink. What's the title of this seminal film?
Wild Style.
Helen?
That is correct.
That is correct for the point. You did not need the hint, but I know, Helen, you were eager to give the hint. What would that hint have been?
It wasn't called Tame Style. Huh? Huh? Am I right? Okay.
You are right. You are right. Thank you for gilding the lily so thoroughly. Fun fact about Wild Style. In his review of the movie, New York Times critic Vincent Canby had to explain to his readers what rapping is, describing it as, quote, a very particular kind of musical communication. He wasn't wrong, but come on, Vincent Canby. All right, Jeff, here's question number 3. According to NPR's Terry Gross, whom I go to for all of my hip hop knowledge, a DJ named Clive Campbell didn't just throw what's believed to be the first hip hop party in 1973. He also was the first to use 2 turntables to create breakbeats, the foundation of modern hip hop. Now known as the father of hip hop, what is Clive Campbell's stage name?
Cool Herc.
Helen?
That is correct.
That is correct. DJ Kool Herc. Fun fact, he's also credited with coining the term B-boys or break boys for the dancers who would move to his break beats. All right, Jeff, you're rolling right along. 3 for 3. Here's question number 4. You do still have your 2 hints available. In 1980, Curtis Blow's The Breaks became the first rap song to be certified gold. The track came from Blow's self-titled album, but which of the following was not also a track on that original release? Was it Hard Times, Throughout Your Years, Taking Care of Business, Rappin' Blow Part 1, or Rappin' Blow Part 2?
Ooh, which
All
one
right.
was not?
Which one was not on that original album release? If you want to talk
I want to say Rappin' Blow Part 2.
Okay, you do have a hint available if you'd like to use that first hint. Just a suggestion.
I'll use the first hint.
Helen, how about that first hint?
Rappin' Blow Part 2 was a track on the original album.
Mm.
I think
That's a solid hint.
That's a solid hint, Helen. Very good.
Solid hint.
Yes.
It's kind of like Wordle. I think you got a yellow.
Yeah, I think you got some green letters on that one. All right,
Okay.
It wasn't Rappin' Blow Part 2. Which of those remaining tracks was not on the album?
Could you name the tracks again?
Sure. Hard Times, Throughout Your Years, Taking Care of Business, or Rappin' Blow Part 1?
Throughout Your Years?
Helen?
That is not correct.
No, I'm terribly sorry. Faith Salie with a chance to steal.
I mean, I was just waiting for this opportunity to say taking care of business.
Helen?
That is also not correct.
No.
Oh.
Sorry, Faith. No, both of you were incorrect. Rappin' Blow Part 1 was not on that original album. Fun fact, Hard Times and Throughout Your Years were also released as singles. Rappin' Blow Part 1 came out as a single in 1979, but was not on the album that came out in 1980. All right, no point there, but let's see if you can bounce back with question number 5. While The Breaks was the first gold hip-hop record, the first hip-hop record to break through on the pop charts was Rapper's Delight in 1979, produced by the mother of hip-hop, Sylvia Robinson. It was also one of the first official music videos. On what syndicated TV show did the Sugar Hill Gang's performance of Rapper's Delight become the song's official music video? You do have a hint available if you'd like to use that hint, although I'd love to hear you groan.
I can see it. I
Yeah.
can see it. I can see them on the stage.
Yep, it's actually
Yes,
in
I'll
big
take the
letters.
hint.
It's actually in big letters right behind them in the video.
It's a TV show.
Yeah, that's okay. Hold on one second. I'm going to have you say again, Jeff, that you'll take the hint, and we'll take it from there.
I'll take the hint.
Helen, how about that second hint?
It's 3 words. The first 2 words are where you might go to see bars of Irish Spring or Ivory being manufactured. The third word is a type of dance music popular in the 1970s.
Can I get that hint?
Yep, one more time, Helen. Yep, here we go.
The first 2 words are where you might go to see bars of Irish Spring or Ivory being manufactured. The third word is a type of dance music popular in the 1970s.
Jeff?
Soap Factory Disco?
Helen?
That is correct.
That is correct for the point. Very nice, Jeff. Nice use of the hint and figuring it out.
Wow.
I'm thinking of the sign.
Yeah,
Good,
there's a big
good
sign in the music
deduction.
video. Great. I love that there was a show just called Soap Factory Disco. The 70s were an interesting time. Fun fact, Rapper's Delight peaked at number 36 on the US singles chart. It went to number 1 in Canada.
Ooh.
Canadians are smart. All right,
That's right.
Jeff, you did quite well in that round, but here's your expert level question that requires multiple answers. It is time for your cluster fact. We'll be bringing an expert to assess your response. Jeff, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inducted its first artist in 1986, but it took over 20 years until acts known for hip hop were voted in. The first group to join came from the Bronx and was inducted in 2007 with a speech from Jay-Z. The second group to join came from Queens and was inducted in 2009 with a speech from an artist who just a couple weeks ago was announced as a nominee for the Hall this year. So for up to 3 points, who were the first two hip hop groups to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? And what current Rock Hall nominee made the induction speech for that second group?
Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five and Run DMC.
Okay. Those are the groups. And then we're looking for what current Rock Hall nominee made the induction speech for that second group. Jeff, deep in thought?
I would say, who would give? So if the second one was from Queens, who is from Queens?
Or perhaps who is heavily influenced by that second group? Whatever you think is best.
It's not Brett Spiner, is it?
I would say Q-Tip from A Tribe Called Quest.
Q-Tip from A Tribe Called Quest. All right. Helen is taking note of your answers. We have an expert on hand who can tell us for sure. Helen, who do we have tonight?
Joining us tonight is a legendary hip hop artist who's received a Lifetime Grammy Award and was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, a founding member of Run DMC. It's DMC Daryl McDaniels.
Hello, Daryl McDaniels, DMC.
DMC in the place to be.
What's going on? How you doing?
I'm beautiful. I am beautiful.
We got
hello, Faith. How you doing?
Hi, I'm so excited to James Lapine and now you.
The collaboration we've all been waiting for. There are a lot of big smiles here in this call. It's so wonderful to have you here, Daryl.
Thank you.
Here's something we did not know when we booked you for this segment. You recently had worked with Jeff.
Yes, Jeff, we have this song produced by one of the most incredible lyricists in the game. And
Yes.
he's mostly known for lyrics. He's the rapper you don't want to put on your favorite rapper's record because he will destroy your favorite rapper.
What?
His name is, most people know him as Freddie Fox. We call him Bumpy Knuckles.
Bumpy Knuckles.
We have a song called Me and My Microphone featuring DJ Jazzy Jeff, DMC, Ice-T, and
What?
Chuck D from Public Enemy.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
Super group.
everybody flips out about that lineup.
I can't imagine why.
Yes, it's
we're
the
here.
coolest thing ever.
We're bringing you on to talk about the early days of hip hop, and my God, Run DMC, just the first that you guys had. I'm just going to run through a little list here. Here's some of the first that Run DMC had in the early days of hip hop. The first rappers with gold, platinum, and multi-platinum album. The first rap group on SNL, on MTV, on the cover of Rolling Stone. The first to get a Grammy nomination. The first to have a top 10 album on the pop charts. They sold over 40 million records, had legendary tracks, including It's Tricky, Walk This Way, My Adidas, It's Like That, Christmas in Hollis, King of Rock. I could keep going, but my God, what a resume.
Wow.
Now, King of Rock is so interesting, talking about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, because in the video, you guys kind of expressed, let's say, some feelings about the Rock Hall.
Yes, well, the funny thing about it is when we got inducted in 09, they was like, D, come in, we got to tell you something. And I was like, what? You guys were prophetic. And I was like, what are you talking about? In 1985, we did a video and a song called King of Rock about Run DMC getting denied entry into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Museum.
Wow.
It didn't exist till 86.
What?
Wow.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, so you invented the Rock Hall
Yes.
and then invented not getting in, and then you got in.
Yeah, exactly. And now everybody's mad at rappers getting in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We did not know we was that prophetic. It
Wow.
was crazy. Right?
Well, if a group is going to get into the Rock Hall, I think it should be a group that was known for blending rock and rap, as you guys so masterfully did, and you're still doing that. Tell us about this new video that you have that has a real metal edge to it.
The new song out is called Ghetto Metal. Everybody, yo, that's the coolest name ever. But it's basically like Jeff said at the beginning of the show. in the DJ's crates, before we was even allowed to go into the studio and record, there was disco, there was funk, there was jazz. We always had to have a James Brown record because he always gave us a breakbeat with the drums for the MC to see his rap over. But in those crates of those early DJs from the 70s, before Rapper's Delight ever even was recorded, was a whole bunch of rock records. So I grew up in New York City. I'm a child of the rock of the 60s and 70s, which played universally and in coordination with soul music. You know, radio in the 70s was James Brown, Sly and Family Stone, Jackson 5, but it was also Led Zeppelin and the Stones and Procol Harum and Janis Joplin. So when I got into hip hop, I had high expectations and an imagination. I never wanted to be the king of rap. Let the rappers be the king of rap. I wanted to be the king of rock. So we was like, when we first made Rockbox, we was like, no, everybody's using jazz and funk and soul and disco. When people said disco sucks, they threw it away. You know that saying, another man's trash is somebody else's treasure. He's like, give us the disco. But I noticed, being that kid that loved rock, with classic rock and folk rock, nobody's rapping over the rock beats. So it wasn't a thing where we said we was going to innovate and change the world. We just wanted to rock over the rock beats that we were already rocking over.
Very cool.
Can I just take a moment to say how much I love that you all were obsessed with Christmas? Because I love, like, you not only have like one of the biggest classic Christmas, didn't you guys put out an entire Christmas album?
No. That song was actually on the A Very Special Christmas, which was an album made for the Special Olympics. And at first we didn't want to be on it because we thought that the world at large was trying to, make rap crap. Oh, let's do a rap commercial and let's do a saran wrap and this and that. And we was like, nah, we're going to keep hip hop in the space that it is, because hip hop is able to talk to people, not just here in America, but globally. Like the thing that hip hop did, it made the kid living in Beverly Hills realize that the kid in Compton is no different from him. And so we wanted to stay on that level. But the cool thing about it is music succeeds where politics and religion fails. When we heard that beat and the way Jay put it together, all I had to do was just think of how Christmas was for me as a little kid growing up. And the beautiful thing about Christmas in Hollis, I'm talking about Jewish people, Muslim people, Japanese people, Egyptian people, all around the world likes the record, because no matter what the festivity is, what do you do with family and friends at a holiday? You get together and you celebrate. So I stay away from the malls during the holidays because I walk in the mall and the whole mall literally recites the lyrics of Christmas carols.
Guilty.
While I'm in there.
Guilty. That's me. I would be reciting the lyrics at you.
I have to tell you, I have a very vivid memory of Christmas 2 years ago when my kids were 6 and 8, and my Jewish husband was driving around in our rental car in Florida, playing them Christmas in Hollis and stopping it and explaining lyrics and then saying, no, now you got to listen to this again. It was like a religious experience.
Exactly. It's a rite of passage for people that grew up with Run DMC.
That's right. That's my generation.
So yeah, exactly.
And I also want you both to know, Daryl and Jeff, that I hope this is not anomalous, but my son, when he was in 2nd grade, we live in New York City. They do this borough study. And they go to each of the boroughs. When they went to the Bronx, their entire unit for 2 weeks was hip hop. Yeah. It was hip hop culture. My son would come home at 7 years old, bursting to tell me what hip hop meant. And it's not just music, Mom. That it was like a way of life. It's dance. It's street art. And and what you have done is it's history. Like you change history, and you spoke to us when we were kids, right? And you're still speaking to my little white half Jewish kid.
Well, that's really funny that you say that, because 95% of what I do, if I'm not touring or if I'm not at a Comic-Con, promoting my comic book company, I go into the schools and I speak to the students, high school, middle school, and now I just put out a children's book speaking to kindergarten and the fifth graders. But when I speak to them, I let them know that you don't have to be just a rapper to be hip hop. And you could be a producer, you could be a DJ, you could be an artist. You know, the graffiti artists that was once writing on walls because they had nowhere else to express their art. Their works of art are now in the art galleries. And the kids look at me so funny. You could be a dancer. You could be like the Jabberwockies. They have a residency in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
So the important thing that, I mean, you know, Run DMC did it. Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince did it. You mentioned Tribe Called Quest. We had a universal representation with our culture, which is a way of life that was able to touch everybody else's lives. And that little element of the thing that got your son so excited about hip hop is missing from today's music, hip hop music. Now, a lot of the hip hoppers today think that we're mad at what they're doing. No, we don't have a problem with what they're doing. We have a problem with what they're not doing with our culture. But nobody talks about that. So that's why Jazzy Jeff, DMC, Public Enemy, Carrots One, and a multitude of us who were there in the beginning, we're going to continue to do what we've always done because that's the eternal thing that will change. When Steven Tyler took the mic stand and walked this way and knocked down the wall, globally, people say that didn't just happen in the video, it happened in the world.
Wow, what a message. I do want to talk about your book a little bit more. It is a book for children. It is a picture book, which is something people might not expect. It is called Daryl's Dream. It's a book for kids about creativity and confidence and finding your voice. And I understand it was sort of based on your own experience of being picked on as a kid, but you were picked on for being good.
Yes, I was, in today's world, negativity is used as a false sense of power. But when I was younger, I got teased, bullied, and picked on because number one, I wore glasses. My whole life was, hey, 4 eyes, hey, binoculars. You know, I wore glasses. I was a straight A student. And the other thing was, all I did was read, collect, and draw comic books. And that being said, everything that was good about me, the world wanted me to think that I was worthless. But if y'all remember, when I started doing my hip hop records, I wasn't like in the streets. I didn't sell drugs. I wasn't in a gang. So hip hop gave me the power to let the world know Daryl is perfect just the way he is. If y'all remember, I remembered all the bullies that teased me for my glasses. So on my first record, I said, D's for doing it all of the time. M's for the rhymes, that all are mine. C's for cool as can be. And Run would ask me, why you wear those glasses? I can see. You know what I'm saying? And that was so powerful that I had a confidence in myself and believed in myself. And Jeff knows this. People that didn't even need glasses wanted to wear glasses. So that's the book teaches the kids your freckles, your red hair, your funny shoes, the way that you dress, the place that you come from, the foods that you eat, and the things that you like is actually the things that make you cooler than everybody in the place to be. The book is to do two things: let kids know you're perfect just the way you are, and like nerdy, geeky DMC, you could become not just somebody special and have success. You could become the king or queen of whatever it is that you want to do.
Wow. If I had heard that message as a kid, you know, I was very privileged in a lot of ways, but still to have heard that message, what it would have done for me and my self-esteem and self-acceptance, I can only imagine what it does for kids these days. It's so great that you're putting that message out there.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's get to the reason that we brought you here as far as our game is concerned. You heard the question that we asked of Jeff. First, we wanted to know about the first two hip hop groups to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Helen, what was the first answer that Jeff gave?
Jeff said Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five.
And Daryl?
He was correct.
That's correct for the point. And I understand that group was a big inspiration on you getting into hip hop in the first place.
Yes. I'm glad that Jeff is the guy here today with me now. I started as a DJ. I started I heard Grandmaster Flash on a mixtape, and what he did the quick mix Jeff with Good Times.
Yes.
Good times,
Yes.
good. Like when he did that, I was like, I gotta get some turntables. So I started as a DJ, and then the second thing that happened, I heard just a tape of Flash Live, and then Rapper's Delight came out. Rapper's Delight was okay to me. The only thing I liked about Rapper's Delight was Grandmaster Big Bang Hank's rhyme, which was written by Grandmaster Caz. He talked about Superman, and I was in the comic books. So I was like, oh, I like that. But it wasn't until, Jeff, you'll remember this, when Super Rapping came out.
Yes.
Remember,
Jimmy
it was
Spicer.
Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. When that came out, that made me pick up the pen and start writing rhymes.
Wow, it's so interesting to see the mixture of what we would call nerd culture with hip hop culture. It's not something that you think, but it means so much to both sides to have that celebrated.
I mean, all of us, we were all geeky little nerds.
Yeah,
all of us.
We all
that's amazing.
Pop culture, yeah.
That's great. All right, there's a point there for Jeff. Next, we want to know, what was the second hip hop group to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Helen, what did Jeff say?
Jeff said Run DMC.
And Daryl?
Yes, he was 100% right. But you know what ticks me off sometimes?
What's that?
I go places, I do all these conferences, I speak at schools, I go to award shows, and a lot of people have a bad habit, and me and Chuck D are very angry at this. A lot of people don't know that Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five is the first hip hop group to be inducted. I go places and I'm sitting here ready to take the stage, and people will actually say, and the first hip hop group to be inducted, I got to get up during the ceremony and snatch the mic from the people and say, no, it was Grandmaster Flash and Furious Five.
Well, I'm sure they appreciate that. Yeah.
Second, that's the right order. It had to go that way.
All right, so a point there for Jeff as well. Next, we wanted to know, and finally, we wanted to know what current Rock Hall nominee made the induction speech for that second group, who we now know is Run DMC. Helen, what did Jeff say?
Jeff said Q-Tip from Tribe Called Quest.
And Daryl?
Well, he was partially right. Tribe Called Quest is also a nominee for the induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But it was actually, he was just on TV. He was just on TV. Yes. He was just at the Super Bowl. It was Eminem who inducted Run DMC into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Yes.
No point there. But what did that mean to you to have Eminem be your induction giver, if that's a phrase?
Everything that Run DMC has done, especially Jam Master Jay, rest in peace. We always knew that, everybody say hip hop didn't start. We know y'all didn't make it, but it started because of y'all. We just had the honor and the privilege to be the representatives of the hip hop culture. And for Eminem to come on stage and say he was this little white kid living in Detroit that saw and heard Run DMC, and we changed his life, it makes me now to this day, even though it makes me realize I have a greater responsibility even existing now, because of what I was able to do to inspire, motivate, educate, and at the same time entertain people. But for Eminem to induct me in the Rock and Roll, I walk around stoop.
That's very cool.
It gives a validation on the power and the representation, of who we are. And it goes on, Jeff, we toured Run DMC, Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, EPMD, Eric P. and Rakim, and Public Enemy. And we always all gave something to each other. You know what I'm saying?
Very cool.
We shared knowledge, the competition was us educating and inspiring each other.
Yes.
So for everybody says, okay, yes, Eminem maybe is the great rapper, but there's a reason he did my rock and roll speech.
Well, it's great. Obviously, you and Jeff have this great history, but Jeff, before we let Daryl go, is there anything else you'd like to ask or say to him?
Listen, I'm just happy. I cannot wait for this song to come out. This is an amazing song. When Freddie Fox sent me the song, and I did the scratches on it, I was just blown away. And I'm like, people are going to lose their mind when they hear this song.
So Jeff, just to let you know, he's still trying to coordinate the whole video thing. So that the video, y'all, I can reveal this. We're going to do the video for this song. We're going to base it on the Beatles' last performance on the rooftop. Remember when they did the documentary? It's going to be all of us on a rooftop like we're this group, and we're finally breaking up, and here's the last performance of all of these great artists.
That's great.
It's going to be crazy.
Well, we can't wait for that. Of course, people can also pick up your children's book, Daryl's Dream, wherever people get books, and you can watch your video, Ghetto Metal, on YouTube. Other than that, Daryl, if people want to find out more about you or your work, where can they do that?
they could go to www.thekingdmc.com, and my Instagram is KingDMC.
He is the king. He is the DMC. He is Gerald DMC McDaniels. Thanks so much for joining us on Go Fact Yourself.
Thank you. See you later, Jeff.
Bye.
All right. All right. What is our score as we head into the final round?
Oh, Jay Keith, it is a tight game. At the end of that round, Faith Salie has 8 points and DJ Jazzy Jeff has 7 points.
All right. Now it is time for our final round we call Fast Facts. I'll read 10 statements and each contestant will answer with true or false. I'll start with Faith and alternate between each guest. Each correct answer is worth 1 point. Again, the answer to each statement is true or false. And you may notice a subtle nod to our 100th episode. Here we begin. Faith, there are 100 cents in $1.
True.
Correct.
Jeff, there are 100 years in a century.
True.
Correct.
Faith, a person who lives to be 100 is called a centenarian.
True.
Correct.
Jeff, a person who lives to be 110 is called a supercentenarian.
False.
Incorrect.
Faith, a person who lives to be 115 is called a super duper centenarian.
False.
Thank you for laughing.
Correct.
Jeff, in Celsius, 100 degrees is the boiling temperature of water.
False.
Incorrect.
No, it really is at sea level. Faith, in Celsius, minus 100 degrees is the freezing temperature of water.
False.
Correct.
No, it's 0 at sea level. Jeff, the Roman numeral for 100 is D.
False.
Correct.
Faith, the Roman numeral for 100 is M.
False.
Correct.
Yeah, it says 1,000. D is 500. Jeff, the Roman numeral for 100 is C.
False.
Incorrect.
No, it really is. C comes from the Latin word centrum. Faith, therefore, run DMC could be called run 500, 1,100.
Wait. Run D is 50, M is 1,000, C is 100. So I think you just said 5,000. What did you say?
Just say true or false. It doesn't matter.
I'm gonna say false, but it's awesome.
Incorrect.
No, it really does add up to that. And finally, just because they can doesn't mean people should call them run 500, 1,100. Jeff, true or false?
True.
Sure.
Yes. All right, we're not going to count those last two. Let's thank Faith Salie and DJ Jazzy Jeff as Helen tabulates the final score. By the way, DMC is not a valid Roman numeral because the D wouldn't become before the M, and anyway, like that. All right, Helen, are you ready to announce a winner on tonight's 100th episode?
I am. At the end of the game, Faith Salie has 13 points and DJ Jazzy Jeff has 9 points.
Oh, a very high-scoring game, but congratulations, Faith Salie. You are the facting champ on Go Fact Yourself. What will you do with your championship?
What I want to win is popcorn at your house, Jeff. I'm serious. I eat popcorn for dinner 4 nights a week. I want to come over.
It's the best popcorn. I will trade you popcorn for a Coca-Cola cake.
Yes!
Oh my gosh, this is truly a deal.
Unbelievable.
This is going to happen. I'm
You guys
so excited.
you guys should start a catering company.
Yeah. Popcorn and Coca-Cola cake. And once again, everyone gets something out of the show but me. All right, we're going to give everyone here on the show a chance to promote anything they might like. Faith Salie, what do you have going on? Where can people find you?
Oh, you can find me on Twitter at Faith_Salie. I think I'm on Instagram at Faith Salie, but I'm clearly more of a person of words than pictures. And my website is faithsalie.com. And I just had the best time.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. It's Faith Salie. DJ Jazzy Jeff, what do you have going on? Where can people find you?
Hey, I do a live stream on Twitch and on my website, www.djjazzyjeff.com, called The Magnificent House Party every Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern. If you want to dance in the comforts of your home, in your bedroom slippers, and your pajamas, join me every Saturday at 3 p.m.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. An absolute pleasure to have you, DJ Jazzy Jeff. Ladies and gentlemen, my hosting partner is the lovely and talented Ms. Helen Hong. Helen, where can people find out what you're up to?
You can follow me on the social media, Twitter and Instagram at funny Helen Hong. It's got to be funny Helen Hong, because there's another Helen Hong that is not funny. Not
Yes.
funny.
Not
No.
funny. No.
No.
But you are funny. You are Helen. You are Hong. Ms. Funny Helen Hong. And me, you can find me on Twitter at J_Keith or on Instagram at jkeith.net, all spelled out. That just leaves me to thank Faith Salie, DJ Jazzy Jeff, James Lapine, Daryl McDaniels, and thank you for listening and supporting our show at MaximumFun.org. I'm J. Keith Van Straaten. Good night. Like what you hear? Come see us live. Remember, live? It's free. Go to gofactorpod.com for our schedule and tickets. Meanwhile, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, all at GoFactorPod. Update our wiki at gofactorwiki.fandom.com and buy our T-shaped shirt at maxfunstore.com. And give us a great review on your favorite podcast platform, like Khalil Goodman from Barbados did on Apple Podcasts. He or they said, well, actually, so much fun. You will leave each episode with some great new facts you can show off at parties. Thanks, Khalil Goodman. That's a reason to have a party right there. Ellen?
Go Fact Yourself is a panel quiz program devised and produced by Jim Newman and J. Keith Van Straaten and comes to you via transcription from various homes across the country. Questions were compiled by the Trivia Industrial Complex. We are produced in collaboration with Maximum Fun. Maximum Fun senior producer is Laura Swisher. Associate producer and editor is Julian Burrell. Our theme song and incidental music were written and performed by Jonathan Green. Research assistance provided by Adam Neediff. Quiz assistance provided by Clint Tauscher and Mike Avellanos, with Dr. John Munchrath, Dr. Ben Honigman, Dr. Ben Honigman, and Juan Michael Porter II. Promotional graphics by Erich Tran. Added support from Raven Snook, Pete Cunningham, T. Vallata, Christian Malmeen, Bob Skier, Deason McDaniels, Dave Bianchi, and Christine Vallata. Special thanks to Tracy Miller at Tracy Miller and Associates, Lynette Towns, David Lindsay Aber, and Sam Levine. For KPCC and LAist, executive producer is John Cohn. Events producer is Rebecca Stummy. Technical direction and graphics by Tony Frederico. I've been Helen Hong.
Let's go listen to hip hop.
And eat
Coca-Cola
Coca-Cola
cake.
Oh yes, that's clearly the move here.
And popcorn.
Awesome. That is the end of the show. Thank you so much, everybody. Thanks everyone for watching. We're just going to do a couple quick things. Faith and Jeff, is there anything you need to restate or need us to trim out?
No.
Okay.
That was so fun.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear it.
Do I keep recording or do I?
You can stop your recording, and I'll be in touch about getting that to us. I think that is the end of the call. Helen, you can stay on. We're going to do a couple quick pickups, but I'm going to say good night and thank you to Faith and Jeff, and thank you everybody for watching us. Please check out our show at gofactorpod.com, and we're just going to be quiet for about 10 seconds and let the stream catch up with us, and then they'll give us the all clear, and we'll say good night. So about 10 seconds of silence,
everybody.
please.